Good morning, everybody. Jalapeno Gal. If you have been following my grayscale dragon tutorials, I have completed a blue grayscale dragon, and there's 5 videos that take you along with me on that one. And so now, I mentioned in the video that I'm going to do a red dragon, a mirror image of a red dragon. So this is only going to be a 1-part video. It's not going to be like the other 5 that are relatively long. This is just to show you the reds that I'm using in this in case you want to do the same thing. So you can follow along the blue dragon videos to do this and then just watch this for the red. I'm only going to do a few scales in here for you guys. When I get done with the whole thing, I'll probably do a short completed video of how they both look side by side. I get asked that often, so I will also put a link in the description box to my Pinterest page where you can get this picture off the board. It is not copyrighted. I've researched, I've looked and looked and looked, and I have not found the image anywhere to be copyrighted, but I got it off of, I don't remember the lady's name. I wrote it down somewhere, but I mentioned her in the, here it is, in the blue video. I just want to give credit where it's at. I don't know how to pronounce it, but that's the lady's page I got it off of on Pinterest. Okay, so in this video, I'm using Prisma colors, I'm using paper stumps, and Windsor Newton Blending and Glazing medium. I'm also using my sharpener, of course. It's important to have a good sharpener, sharp. If you find your leads are breaking a lot, chances are that your blade is dull. Okay, so in this one I'm using Crimson Lake as my darkest, then Crimson Red as my medium, and Carmine Red as my light. And again, you can choose whatever colors you want. You can go with blues, purples, pinks, greens, whatever you want. I typically will use a dark, medium, light, or we'll use one color and apply different pressure to get different shades. Like in this blue guy right here, all this blue that you see up in here, I hope you can see that, all the blue that you see up in here, the different shades, that's one color that I made different tones out of by applying darker pressure in some areas and lighter pressure in others. So these scales here have different colors, different shades of blue. So that's what I'm doing on here. I'm using the different shades, I'm using the different shades of red here. Okay, so like I explained in the other video, the grayscale photos are a great tool to teach you where to put your shadows and your shading if you are having a hard time with that, or if you just really like grayscale. It's been really fun for me. I enjoy it. So in this picture, you're going to see most of your shadows right here on this side. So that means, or what that means, is that your light is coming in from this direction, because this is going to be your lightest area and these are your darkest areas, which means it's casting a shadow, so your light's coming from this area. Wherever your shadows are, the light's coming from the opposite direction. So you're going to want to color in here, you see that dark gray, and bring it down. And you got a little bit in here, but not too much. You don't want to confuse the people that are looking at the picture by adding too much shadow on both sides, because then you won't be able to tell where your light's coming from. So I go like this. You're going to follow that curvature of the scale, just like in the blue video. Start off with really dark pressure up here and then lighten it as you come down. So you might have a little bit of darkness on this side, just like right here. And the picture really does show you where to put those lighter tones. So next I'm going to come in with my crimson red. Sorry, I just woke up like an hour ago. I was actually in the middle of doing another video for you guys and my daughter woke up. And while the video was okay, I'm sure you guys didn't want to hear a conversation about how she slept and she got her homework done. So after I get that, then I'm going to come in with my blending medium, and my paper stump. And I can't stress how important it is. Even though this looks dark, you still want to blend that, because when you take a picture, you're going to get every piece in there that isn't covered or the pigment isn't pushed down on the paper. It's going to pull up on the photograph as, like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. I was really frustrated when I did the blue one and took a picture. I had to go back in and go over every single line I thought was okay. And to the eye, it's okay, but to the camera, not so much. So remember, you push down and get that pigment down into the tooth of the paper. You can come back. You have these really, really hard, sometimes hard lines are fine. That's exactly what you're trying to achieve. But if you're wanting to try, kind of tone it down some and go for, you know, have a nice transition from dark to light, you can come back in and add a little bit more tone to it, a little bit more color. But I use cardstock. I print this on cardstock, so I cannot testify to how this will look on regular printer paper. So if you can afford it, if you can make it out to Office Supply or Home Depot or, you know, any place that sells copy paper, look for cardstock. It's a heavier weight paper and it's a pleasure to work on. You don't get any type of shredding of the papers. You know, sometimes when you use blending mediums on low grade paper, then you get where the paper starts to kind of crumble. I don't know the term for that, but I'm not as eloquent as other artists are with their terms and definitions. Like I have said before, I'm relatively new to this world. I think I've been coloring about a year. So then we're going to come in with our crimson red, and again following the curvature of that scale. Ooh, my belly grout. I can't remember if I mentioned it or not, but I will put links down in the description box to video number 1 of the blue dragon, and then you guys can just follow the description box from there to go to number 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I'll put a link to my Pinterest page where you can get a copy of this picture and follow along. Do not sell your colored pictures. That is a copyright infringement, because you are not the designer of the picture, as much as we might want to. You cannot do that. It is not legal. And it's kind of like theft. I mean, you're ripping off the artist. Oh, and I'll put a link to my Facebook page, which you guys might want to join. It's really fun over there. I post all my videos to my Facebook page, group page. There's lots of nice people, ladies, gentlemen, lots of good tips, lots of, there's beginner, intermediates, advanced. So it's a good little group. You know, people don't have to feel like, oh, mine's not as good as yours or anything. There's no, like, intimidation. And I told one of the ladies, I told one of the ladies that she was looking at some of the grayscale books that I put a review up on, and said it kind of intimidated her. And I told her, because when I first started coloring, I got the same feelings when I'd go in these groups, and these people had these beautiful pieces of artwork, just like, and I'm over here like a 5th grader, don't know what I'm doing. So I changed that word of intimidation into a challenge. And I went from there, and now you see what I'm able to do. So, if you feel intimidated, just tell yourself, hey, no, I'm not intimidated. This is a challenge for me. And if you want to step up your game, step it up. I promise there's no feeling in the world like when you sit back and look at a completed picture and you're just so proud of it. It just turns out so well. And come in with the crimson. come in with that carmine. Birds are out this morning. It's cold out there too. I don't know if any of you guys are from Georgia, but this weather is just so bipolar. Like, one day the sun is shining at 60 degrees and the next day it's 20 degrees out there. So as far as your light reflection here, I use the Jelly Roll white gel pen. And the trick to these gel pens is to not push hard on the paper, because if you push hard on the paper, you're going to get a ball line right through the middle of what you're doing. So you're just basically gliding it across that paper. So, okay, I'm going to pause you guys for a little bit and I will be right back. Okay, so the power of pause has allowed me to finish this area. So I wanted to come back in real quick and show you guys. I had mentioned before coming in with a Tuscan red or a black and creating a more definite shadow there. You can see how the dark red creates the shadow. Let's see, what color was that again? Crimson Lake. And don't be scared of black. A lot of people are scared to use black, including myself when I first started. But you get that black out and don't neglect it. Make sure you have a sharp tip on it and just come underneath each of these scales that is overlapping. So you're not going to come out here on this edge, you're just going to stick to the underside of each of those scales. I'll show you guys what a difference it makes. Now, you're not going to want to do this in the beginning, because if you do this first, what's going to happen is when you come in with your blending medium, you're going to get a lot of black streaks, and you just really don't want that. And it's just these little details that you don't want to skip, because even though it seems like it's not that big a deal, it really does make a difference. So I hope you guys can see that real quick, and I'm probably going to go back into pause mode for a second. And maybe not, I'm almost done. I know at the beginning of the video I said I wasn't going to show you guys every single thing. I don't know, I just kind of did go on that edge, didn't I? It's not that bad. I guess that looks okay. And see, that's the great thing about coloring is you can just make it up as you go. Let's see. Oops. Now I did change my mind about something. Earlier I used the white gel pen to create the light effect at the bottom of each scale. And I showed the difference between the Jelly Roll and the white color pencil, and originally I was going to use the Jelly Roll, but I went back in and took that off. And you can do that if you're real careful with a flat edge of scissors or a razor blade, and you can just carefully scrape that up because it's laying on top of your color, it's not blended in. But the reason I did that is because I didn't use that on this guy. I used the white. On some areas I did, but for the most part I used the white pencil, so I wanted to kind of keep it the same. So I just went in like this with a white pencil on each of my scales to make it look like that light's hitting the bottom of the scale. So I hope you guys can tell. Let's see. Yeah, you can tell. Okay, now I am gonna widen out just a tad and go in on these scales right here for a minute. Yeah, I'll show you guys one or two and then I'm going to shut it down. Because you can learn all these, you can do all this with the blue videos. There's no need for me to waste your time. Now if you like these videos, I think I've mentioned before, if you like them, just don't forget to subscribe. And see, here's that grayscale effect again. You're coming in with your darkest red, your crimson, and you're following these shadows with your darkest color. And you can see how they kind of fade into light. I'm going to come in with my crimson red. Like so. And then come in with my carmine. And I ended up switching out my paper stump because that other one was just giving me too hard of a time. I was really having to scrape down, so I just need to kind of sand that off and get myself a clean, sharp point. Okay, now I want to shade this a little bit darker up here. And as you're coming down, you're going to go from a dark to, from a hard pressure to medium to light to give that a nice little transition. Come in with my crimson red. Yeah, crimson red. And come back in with that carmine. And you could even leave it like that texture if you wanted to after that initial lay down. Now remember what I said about that black. Don't be scared of it. Kind of coming on that line a little hard. And I'm gonna light pressure. Like as light as you can go. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop there. I love you guys. Bye.